First of all, last weekend, I learned a little bit about our club, positively, negatively. Just the growing piece that we have starting from ground zero of 22, 23, and we're different. We're going to have some different challenges than we've had in the past. We've had some guys step up and make some significant progress here over the summer. So we know we're playing one of the best teams in the country. I think if you look at them from top to bottom, talent-wise, I think it's hard to find another team that can put together a group of defensemen like they can. And with the freshman class that they have, combined with the returners, with Nyes and Faber and the group that they have back with home, it's going to be a great test for us, but we're looking forward to that test.
Great. Thanks for that, Mike. We have a question from people here in the room with us right now. Shane, you want to ask a question?
Sure. Mike, you said, some different challenges. Anything that you didn't expect challenge-wise after Saturday's exhibition, or how much you put into that?
Oh, well, you know what, to me, it's, you look at it, and if you're on the outside looking in, or even on the inside looking out like I am, you knew we'd have a little bit of a different look from the net out, and so we decided to give all three guys a look, give them an opportunity to get their feet wet a little bit. Keenan Rancier had a little bit of college playing time last year, but not a lot because of all the games that Dryden played in over his time here. And so, you know what, those guys got their feet wet, and now we're going to need them to take a step. They've had a good week. We knew our defensive core is going to be a little different because of the guys that we moved on. And now we need some veterans to step up and carry us here early. And so from the idea of expectations, our expectations were to go and learn a little bit about ourselves. And we definitely did that. And now this is going to be another test against a very good Minnesota team.
Jess Myers, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Mike, one thing I asked Bob Motzko is about, you two have been friends going back to the days when you were coaching rival teams in the USHL. With the intensity of what your college rivalry has become in the last 2 years facing them in the NCAA tournament, how does a friendship like that kind of manifest itself? Do you talk on game week, or is that when the friendship gets on pause, or how do you handle it?
Bob and I, neither one of us is spring chicken, right? So we've been through peaks and valleys in our own careers and actually other things in life. And so, yeah, I talked to Bobby today, and it was just a little bit of a conversation where we were talking about coming in on Thursday and our ice time Friday, and just caught up with him a little bit. He talked a little bit about his club. I talked a little bit about us, and you know what? We agreed on one thing. As us old guys, we don't like the beginning of New Year's because there's so many question marks, and we need to just continue to progress our clubs. He's doing the same thing that I am at trying to plug holes where we think there's holes, and then allowing your team to grow. Both of us learn to be patient with our groups because if you don't, you can stunt that growth. So, from my standpoint, it was good to catch up with him. I've talked to him a couple of weeks ago. When you get to September in college hockey, it's a real busy time because you've got recruiting, you're dealing with your own team, looking at what your future might be. And so right now we're just all settling in October and trying to make sure we keep the wheels going in the right direction.
Tim Rappley, followed by Kevin Dudley, please.
Hey, Coach, the last 2 years you've won the bragging rights with the Gophers. You've ended their season in the NCAAs. Does the bragging rights ever translate into recruiting victories for you?
I don't know. I don't know if you'll see that right now or in time. I think at the end of the day, Bobby and Minnesota are doing the same thing that I am, and we are here at MSU, and that's turning the page. We've got enough to worry about with the University of Minnesota on Friday, playing in their own building. They're already 2-0. You've seen what they can do offensively. The recruiting piece for us is both teams have a philosophy that they go after and are really the foundation in the recruiting mindset. And we're just hopefully continuing to grow. We want to string together as many wins against whoever it is as possible and continue to grow our program, whether it's against Minnesota or anybody else.
Kevin Dudley, followed by Randy Johnson.
Mike, I know you've got three goalies and an open competition going there. Have you made any decision yet about who's going to be between the pipes Friday?
You know what? I haven't, and that's the honest answer. I'm going all the way back to when Dryden was fighting for that ice time. Kind of let the week play out. Let those guys make it as easy as possible on myself to decide who's going to end up playing. And so we've still got we got to practice tomorrow in Minnesota, and gives those guys another opportunity to show themselves before they make that decision.
Ready?
Hey, Mike, what's your impression so far and what have you seen from Logan Cooley of the Gophers?
Smart choice by the NHL team that selected him. Talented, hungry, you know what, and he brings a lot of headaches to the opposing coach, because you've got to chase him around a 200 by 100 rink, or at least I don't have to, but our team does. He's incredibly talented, gifted. He's hungry. It looks like he enjoys playing the game. He'll make us. We're gonna have to defend him honestly, because he's so multidimensional. He can beat you, by scoring a goal or making people miss, which brings other defenders to him and opens people on the backside. So we respect him. I think he's a special talent, and I'm sure Bob's happy he's in his lineup.
Tim, you had your hand up there for a second. Do you still have a question? Okay, how about Kevin Dudley?
Mike, three guys I didn't see out there in the exhibition were Bennett Smolik, Josh Grohl, and Christian Fitzgerald. Just wondering if those three will be available for Friday, if you know that yet.
Yeah, on Friday, Bennett won't be on Friday as of today. The other two will be available.
Anybody else have questions? Shane Frederick?
How do you put the weekend in perspective where you don't want to put too much into wins or losses because it is the opening weekend? And we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, and there's a lot on this with fans, with the Gophers, everything else, and you're trying to build a team for the long haul. How do you keep that all in perspective as a head coach?
Well, live for today, and then after today lays itself out, you learn from it and you move on. And it's an opportunity that we're excited about when you start in October and you start building your book of business for the NCAA tournament when you're playing in your non-conference schedule. And so they're very important games, but they go by the wayside, and the next set of games are your most important games. So for us, we're going to try and utilize everything we can as far as an opportunity to learn about us and try and get better. And the great thing about playing a team as talented and as well coached as Minnesota is they're going to expose our weaknesses, and they're going to make us better. So just the opportunity to be playing in this type of home and home series with the University of Minnesota is something that I think will make both teams better.
Jess Myers, then the last question from Kevin Dudley, if you have one.
Mike, if I'm not mistaken, it was only one season, but you were an assistant for the Gophers under Don Lucia. Just what do you remember from that year, calling Mariucci your office, and what did you learn from that experience?
Well, I learned just a little bit of what Bob and his staff and those players go through. Is when you're at the University of Minnesota, there's a lot of eyes on you, and I was honored to have an opportunity to work there and work under Don Lucia, and I have an opportunity to work with the players that I did that year, because it's a place that I think is got a lot of history to it. And so I learned a lot from Don, mostly about myself, because I had to go back to being an assistant coach. Previous to that, I'd been a head coach in the USHL for 14 years. And then really to have the old dog teach the new dog a few tricks, and being patient and being supportive of players, allowing him to grow, those types of things. So I look back, the relationship I have with Don and the opportunity that I had to work with the players and the people that I did at the University of Minnesota is one that made me a better coach, and very appreciative of that opportunity. And now we get to go head to head on Friday and Saturday and see where both programs can go.
Kevin Dudley, if you have a last question.
Mike, entering this new season, maybe a little bit different than last year in terms of the experience that you have on both the blue line and in goal. You've got this really hard non-conference, stretch to start. I'm sure it makes you a little nervous, but is there some excitement to see how those less experienced guys handle, these opportunities against really good teams here early?
Yeah, I think anytime you have an opportunity to go against somebody that's going to push you and make you better, you want to take advantage of that. And it's interesting when you recruit some of these players, or really any player that you have coming to your program, they're excited about this day. It's their season starting. We had an opportunity to play an exhibition game, but it's a little bit different than when they count. And so, we're there to try and support them and have the opportunity and have them take that opportunity and grow from it. And so, it's an opportunity that we're looking forward to. And like I said, our group's different. We're different between the posts, we're different back at the blue line, and really from top to bottom, we're a different team. We've got to own that and be excited about us forming our own identity on what 22-23 is going to look like. Last year's done. So we've got to look out the windshield, not in the rear view mirror, and make sure we're focused on that, because I can tell you there's enough on that plate for us to be concerned with as we're continuing to try and progress this year.
Well, so far I'm really excited about our new guys. I think we got a good core of returning guys who have some experience and have played in big games. And I'm excited to watch our new guys develop and see what they can bring to the table this year. As far as Minnesota goes, we got past couple of years, we've seen them more frequently than usual, but it's always a really exciting weekend when we get to play Minnesota, in-state rivalry, and definitely big games that mean a lot.
Thanks for that, Sam. Questions from people on the Zoom call here, from anybody? Jess, you usually have something to say.
Sam, I'm just wondering if you've played in Minnesota's building before. One thing that Bob Motzko said is that, excited to play the Mavericks, but it feels weird playing this early in the season. I'm just wondering what your thoughts on that part of it.
I've never played in that rink. We're practicing over at one of our practice rinks on a bigger sheet. Hopefully we get a little used to the size of the rink. I know it's a bigger sheet, so yeah, that'll be different. Similar to Northern and St. Cloud, a couple other places that we're playing this year. And then yeah, we haven't seen Minnesota this early in the season, but I think our schedule last year early in the season was equally as difficult. So I think it's good to jump into the deep end early in the year and kind of see where we're at and see what we need to get better at and keep taking steps in the right direction.
We're going to take a question from Carson Bulow here, and then Kevin Dudley after that.
Sam, from a player's perspective, how do you prepare mentally, like for a game like this weekend? I mean, you're playing against the Gophers. It's a new rivalry that's sort of brewing. It's the first game of the season, and it's a home and home. A lot of stuff to take into consideration there.
Yeah, I think you try to treat it like any other game. It's definitely an easy game to get excited for. So I think there's a fine line between being excited for a game and being overexcited. You got to treat it like any other game in your season. And I mean, definitely we're taking it seriously and we're excited for the game, but just play it like any other game.
Kevin Dudley, you have a question.
Sam, you were named an alternate captain, in a team where I know a lot of guys got votes. It's a very deep group of leaders. You guys have talk about that honor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely an honor to wear a letter in Mankato, but I think whether you wear a letter or not, we have a lot of leaders on this team who bring different things to the table. So I don't think it really changes who you are. You just got to try to guide guys in the right direction and set a good example, whether you're wearing a letter or not.
Shane Frederick, then Randy Johnson.
Sam, what'd you learn about your team as much as you could in the exhibition game on Saturday? And how do you take that into the season?
I think we definitely learned some things that we need to work on, with our new group. I think we learned just take it day to day, take steps in the right direction as much as possible. It's early in the year. We definitely got some kinks in our chain right now. So we got to work those things out and just keep getting better every day.
Randy Johnson, then Jess Myers.
Yeah, Sam, you not being from Minnesota, being from Colorado, how long did it take to realize when you got there how much these Minnesota rivalries mean to each other?
Our first year, my first year here when we played them in the Frozen Four, just how excited our guys were to play against Minnesota. We had a lot of Minnesota natives on the team, and just to see their excitement and collectively how much it mattered to all the guys on our team. I think that first game that I got to play them, we really realized how much it meant to everyone on the team.
Jess, you're up.
Sam, I'm curious. Number one, did you and Colin Schmidt play together at all during your time at Union? And then secondly, what do you take away from the exhibition game? I mean, obviously it doesn't count for anything, but an outsider sees 7 goals and says, wow, Dryden doesn't work there anymore. Just, what did you guys learn from that?
As far as the exhibition game goes, I think we realized that all the importance from last year is that we just need to defend well. We need to be heavy in our D zone. Good defense leads to offense, and as much as we can, keep the puck on our stick and stay in the offensive zone as much as possible. And then as far as the first part of your question, who are you asking about?
I'm wondering if you and Colin Schmidt played together at all at Union, if you have any friendship with him or anything.
Yeah, my second year at Union, I played with him for up until November before I left. So I developed a little bit of a relationship with him. I know he's a good kid. I'm not crazy close with him, but it's always fun playing against guys that you know.
I think Tim's up.
Yep. Hey, Sam, when you realized, playing youth hockey, that college hockey was going to be in your future, do you have a sense of the aura of the Golden Gophers? It's one of the big brand names in college hockey. When did Minnesota, if it did at all, get on your radar?
I mean, when you look at their lineup, you see the draft picks and the big names that they have in their program. So obviously that's flashy, but I think that's what makes them so exciting to play against. As far as on my radar, I was never recruited to play there or anything like that, but since I've been in college hockey, they're a big name school, and it's always an exciting team to play because of their roster and the success they've had in the past.
Let's wrap it up with Kevin Dudley.
Sam, you mentioned the big sheet that you're going to be playing on at Mariucci. Is that something that does require a big adjustment? I know a lot of the style you guys like to play is more, physical, trying to take space away. Just talk about the adjustment to playing a team as talented as them on a big sheet like that.
Yeah, I don't think it changes the way we play, but it's definitely something to take into consideration. Like always, we want to protect the middle of the ice, keep them to the outside. And I think more than anything, it just means that we need to continue to skate and move our feet. There's more ice to cover. So everyone's got to be moving, and we got to be playing in units of 5 together so that we can take advantage of keeping them on the outside of the rink and keeping the puck in our hands.